Welcome back, my friends. It's fabulous to have you all here. So, today's episode is something a little bit special. The Fun Pimps have just done their first Alpha 19 developer live stream, and I've watched it. I've got a whole bunch of notes here, and we're going to be running through them. Some of them are stuff we know about and we have seen before. I will be posting links to the YouTube video above, so if you want to watch it direct, go click there. I will see if I can't grab a couple of screenshots and post them as we play through my episode today while we cover the stuff. So you get a 2-in-1 episode. You get Alpha 19 news and you get my latest episode. And we're changing things up in my episode. I had an idea on how I'm going to get steel, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you all here again. Sorry, I'm a bit husky. So we're going to be covering a couple of things today. I'm going to be covering what the Fun Pimps have covered in their latest dev live stream, which is quite a bit actually. It was about 3.5 hours long. I did watch the whole thing. Unfortunately, they streamed it at 9 p.m. I think CST, Central Standard Time, and I live in the UK, so that's 3 a.m. my time. So I was asleep. So I rewatched the VOD before it came out to YouTube, and these are my takeaways. One of the new things they have covered is an interactive loading screen. So what does that mean? So you'll be able to left click or right click on this loading screen, and it will give you tips and gameplay and things like that as you play the game, which is, I think, pretty cool. And they've got new HD backgrounds, so the loading screens will be covered with that. I will get some screenshots from the YouTube video, or if they post it on Twitter. They did say they're going to post it on Twitter, but I don't think they've done so yet. So I'll see what I can do there. The other thing they have covered is that they have completely redone the gamepad. So for those of you that play on game controllers, guess what? You're getting proper gamepad support, which is pretty cool. So right trigger will be accelerate, left trigger will be brake. A lot of people are very happy about that. The next thing they covered was the ISS, or Integrated Survival System. And now here they did spend quite a bit of time on this, because this covered both survivor and the vehicle systems that are coming. So what do I mean by that? So currently you'll see on my stamina on my bottom left HUD. Hello, Mr. Deer. You got a bit of surprise there. I've got enough food for now, so I'm not going to bother with him. Yeah, it's fine. If I see another one, I'll get him. So you'll see now, because I've used a bit of my stamina up, you can't see it. So that is changing. They have reworked that. There is now a health and food bar. So he slams my door. Sorry about that. The food is green and your water bar is blue. So that's also going to be in Alpha 19 as well. It did talk about the ISS system for vehicles as well, which will not be coming to Alpha 19 at all. That will only be coming to Alpha 20. So if you're looking to for that to come to Alpha 19, it's not going to happen. It's just too big of a thing for them to do currently. One of the things they did mention, I was about to say that sounded like a vulture, is that since we're in the winter biome, there's new winter trees as well coming. This is going to get tricky. So there's new winter trees that look really good. I really suggest you go and watch the VOD for that. It looks really good. Come on, let me through. Thank you. So the ISS system, like what I mentioned, it was Fubar Prime, or Lathan, and Richard Hillneck, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And what they were talking about is that with the vehicle ISS system, so you can get a flat tire, and so the vehicle will drive slower and pull to one side and will attract more zombies, which is not really what you want. There's a city down on the left hand side there. Or you can get a damaged radiator, and the vehicle could overheat that way. So the vehicle ISS system is going to be really cool. They've made the ISS system for the player a lot more user friendly, so it makes a lot more sense than the Alpha 18 version does. It's really hard to explain without having it in front of me, but I will be covering it when Alpha 19 does drop. Speaking of dates, they have said there's a couple of developer streams coming Monday, Wednesday, Friday this following week, and they did say that they are provisionally trying to get the game into our grubby mitts come 1st of July, or in that week of July. So there'll be a streamer weekend on the 26th of June, but then after that, once the streamer weekend is complete, providing, as Richard said, nothing blows up in their faces, they will be getting it into experimental into our grubby paws on that week. So Monday, Tuesday, 27th, 28th is what they're currently aiming at. So that is the provisional, guys. I must stress this. Provisional date is the last week of June. I'm holding my breath on that. If it is, it's great. But if it's not, I'd rather wait for them to fix it properly. But all we can do is wait and see. I'm not going to bother picking that up. There is lots of new art. There's lots of traders. A lot of the two traders have been worked over and be given the new HD look. It's not just Trader Gen as well. But they didn't show that off. That will only be shown off by the art team, and I think the art team is on Wednesday, I think, this coming week. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but we shall have to just wait and see. They did say that there are going to be new HD zombies, ones we have not seen before, which I think is pretty cool. They did show a bit of gameplay as well. We'll get to that a bit later, but we did see Mo. He looks really good. We did see the new Bo as well. We saw Marlene as well, and they all look really, really good. It's a bit of a different thing looking at a screenshot and then looking at an actual gameplay footage. So that is very, very cool. What else? So it's unknown how many zombies are going to be in HD by the time it ships, but they did say they're making really, really good progress on that front. Let's go that way. Okay, analytics now. This is going to get a lot of people's hair up. They're going to be incorporating an analytics thing to send data back to the fun pumps. But whoa, before you fly off the handle, just whoa. It's going to be recording gameplay footage. Not gameplay footage, but gameplay stats. So, like one of the things like Richard said was glass. You pick up broken glass, and you know what Richard does with it? He immediately throws it out of his inventory because it's completely useless to him. So that is what they're going to be using the analytics for, is to better optimize the game, see what blocks are being constructed, that kind of stuff. I have a serious suspicion that they're going to have an opt-out policy for it, but until we get that, we don't know exactly. They're just going to be recording gameplay for stats. That's what they have told us, to better optimize the game. Speaking of optimization, I forgot to mention with the zombies are much higher detailed and much higher resolution than the old versions, but their performance hit, this is going to sound counterintuitive, their performance hit is less. Their performance hit is less than the old zombies because they use less draw calls. For those of you that are in the technical field, you know that means it doesn't have to cycle back to the GPU as much to draw a zombie. So there is no performance hit with the new zombies, which is really, really cool. I've still got okay gas. There is new music, and the way the music system works is going to be changing. The version that we've got now, or I can say changing, it's going to be optimized is a better word, is that the version that's in the game now works all right. So it's got dynamic music, but it only works on like a certain time, not time of the day, but a certain number of times in the day. The new version is going to be, it's going to be more thematic, if I can use that word. It's going to have different styles of music, so tense and creepy, or happy and sad. And they're using apparently a studio in Texas, Dallas for that. Richard did mention it, but I can't remember who it is in my notes. You know, when you're taking notes while they're talking, you can only take so much. I'm not a shorthand typist. Okay, so they have also fixed loot progression. So you won't be finding a blue M60 on day one anymore. It's not going to happen because your game stage won't allow it. So that's one of the big things. Okay, I just want to fill up the bike here while we can. So the game staging and your loot progression. So no high tier weapons or items generally on day one. So you won't be running around with steel armor and a purple AK by the end of like day 5 or 6 anymore. It's just won't happen. I think that is really, really good, because a lot of times when you get enough hours into 7 days, especially like you're playing on the 120-minute days, it is very, very easy to make an incredible amount of progress in the first week before the first Horde Night. First Horde Night for me is not a challenge. It hasn't been for years because you know how and what to do. So that's, I think, is going to slow down the game, and it's going to bring more of the weapons that don't get used often back into the game, I think, because you're not going to be finding like a purple AK anymore. So you'll be using the blunderbuss more. You'll use the bow and arrow, the spear, that kind of stuff more often. I still use the spear even now. I mean, okay, I've got a purple one, but that came from looting. What's next? Oh, that's the next big thing. The on-screen sprite system. So this was something that was developed by Lathan, who's been with the Fun Pimps for 5 odd years or so. And so if you go do a quest, for instance, a digging quest, it will show you on the map where you've got to go. So like on the screen, it will show you an icon, an orange icon. This is where you got to go. And when you get there, it will form a ring of where you've got to dig. And then every 10 blocks, it will shrink that ring smaller if you don't find it. And another 10 blocks, it will shrink it even smaller. And eventually, if you don't find it at all, it will then show you it's right here. But this applies to all the quest systems. So if you've got to fetch a satchel from a residence or whatever, they also did say it's not going to be a case of they're going to fix the naming. So it's not going to say House 03 or POI 5. They're going to actually have proper names for the buildings. I don't know if that's coming in Alpha 19 or if it's a later version. They didn't specify that. Next is the new quest type, opening for traders. So this is part of the late game system that they are still developing. Okay, one of the other things they specified was how the zombies ragdolling is going to work. Is that like if they break down a door, they can either fall forward through the door and ragdoll, or they can stumble and fall and face plant. So that's probably not a good idea. Okay, so as I was saying, they working on the ragdolls, so they can face plant, they will fall over things now, they will stumble over objects and If a door breaks suddenly, so they've really changed the way the zombies interact with their environment. So there is changes to the random gen as well. Uh, so what I mean by that, they've worked it out. It's going to be a bit smoother. They're, they're trying to, from what I've seen, is you're going to have a forest start is how they specified it. So you'll start in the forest, and it'll be an easy start. And then that was the one, that was one of the other things they specified, is it's going to be a case of, well, like I'm in the desert biome now. So the desert biome will get a game stage modifier. And so it'll be actually harder to go into the desert. So the zombies will be tougher. You'll get better loot out of it, but it's to tier the progression system a bit better, which I think is a really, really cool idea. So you'll start in the forest, and your trader will eventually send you to more and more difficult locations as you play through the game. There's a whole bunch of new points of interest. There are 7 new ranger stations, but they didn't give us any more details than that. So there's at least 9 big new points of interest that have been worked on. They have also specified changes to all the existing points of interest. They've all gotten reimaginings, like there's new cracker books. So that's all stuff that has actually changed, which is really, really nice. There's a new type of quest that they are working on. They are unsure if it's going to make it into Alpha 19, called Infection. So Infection is you're going to go into a house, for instance. That's a really cool looking thing there. That's actually quite cool. Oh, some backpacks. Backpack! Oh, can. That's a stone. And then it will be overwhelmed with zombies. So it won't be just like your normal 5 or 10 zombies in it. It will be 1.5 or 2 times the zombies, and the zombies will be higher tiered. So what I mean by that, they'll be stronger than your normal zombies. So that'll be a new quest type that is coming, which is really, really cool. So there's going to be gathering quests and crafting quests as well, but they don't give us any information on that. But you can pretty much work out what that's going to be. What else? The new factions, as I mentioned, is the Duke and White River. Then there is the Repair and Defend. That's also one I have spoken about briefly. So that is, you're going to go repair a generator, for instance, and that will be then powering up a settlement or something like that. And then Defend is you'll go to repair holes in a wall, and you'll then defend it from bandit attacks. That is very cool. Okay, am I going to find a freaking city or something here? So I actually came out here was to find some more cities, but I'm not finding squat. So that we've covered. There will be proper quest names. Oh, the drone, the flying drone. That we don't know if that's going to make it into Alpha 19. They are working on it, but Richard is unsure at this point if they're going to be able to polish the code enough that it'll hit the release date. But the flying drone talks to you in a British woman voice, and it is a healer as well. So it shoots, it heals, and it talks to you. So it is essentially a companion, which I think is pretty cool. There will not be any learn by doing coming back ever. It is not something the Fun Pimps want. It doesn't suit the style of gameplay that they were doing. So learn by doing, for those that are new to the game, was you go build 100 bows, for instance, and you then become better at building bows because you made 100 of them. But the problem with it, as Richard said, is that how do you improve your armor resistance? You can't, if you think about it. Or you're going to run into a cactus 100 times to improve your armor resistance. That was one of the downfalls of learn by doing. So learn by doing is not coming in. There will not be any dog companions, nor will there be any lawnmowers. That was one of the questions asked in the Twitch stream. There was quite a few of those. The trees have gotten a rework, especially in the forest biome. The snow biome, they've gotten a rework. As I mentioned, the hands and the weapons. So there is a lot they have covered in this just one stream. As I mentioned, the stream was 3.5 hours long. So yeah, that's basically all my notes that I have. It's now we'll just give what I think is some other stuff they covered, which doesn't really fall into any sections. Is that they did say like Alpha 16, if I remember correctly, took them 17 months to do. It was Alpha 17, sorry, took them 16 months to do. 17 months. Alpha 18 took them 11 months. And now Alpha 19 has taken them 7. Because they only started working on this really with their whole dev team in I think it was February, because they were still patching Alpha 18 until February. So there's that. They also did mention that their dev team is actually 45 people strong, which is it's a big team. That does include part-timers, but they started with 5 people, to put in context. And 6 out of that 45 are working on a new title. They didn't give us any other information than that, but there is a new title in the works. Okay, that's the dead end. But that's probably still multi-years off. They did say they are looking to go gold provisionally, and they did say this with a huge disclaimer, and I can't get around that way either. They are looking to go gold the end of next year, so the end of 2021, if they're in a good enough space and they've gotten all their objectives. Alright, so we're probably going to have to climb up this way up here. We're just going to... Okay, so we'll just have to see if their timeline is by the end of next year is still there. But the thing is, for me, this is just my opinion, is that especially like now they've got the new frameworks and that kind of stuff in game. Come on, stop sliding down the hill. Is that especially like with all the content that's coming in the game now, it's essentially a whole new game. It really, really is. I'm just getting my stamina back. It's not a case of, oh, it's the same gameplay. I mean, just the sheer number of points of interest, the new zombies now, the new ISS system. So all of that is definitely, come on, let me up the damned hill, is making a big difference. Okay, fine. Okay, so we did a bit of driving. You can see all the way to there. I actually put a marker there, but I saw this town. Click. You did not spit that green goop at me. Okay, so like I was saying, Alpha 19 I think is going to be quite different from Alpha 18. Ooh, dogs. And in the sheer fact of they've refined the perk tree system again. They've reduced the number of perks in some of the things because they weren't being used, or they just felt clunky and cumbersome. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a really, really good update. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't have much more news than that, so we're still looking for a Crucible currently. I don't know where I might find one. So I'm just going to continue cruising and looking for a Crucible. I am in the Wasteland biome. I don't like this biome all that much. And I am quite a ways from base. So, but because these guys are always on your case. But that's basically it for the news at this point in the that I have is a lot of it, not some of it. A lot of it we've covered before. You guys have seen it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. It was just showing off what they've already done and in a bit more detail, which is really nice. I will link the video that they did down below, and stay tuned for more. So we're going to continue with our normal episode. That's the end of the news as of today. There's more news coming out in this week. They will be a lot shorter than this one. They did go on for 3.5 hours. I didn't condense everything I could. There's still a bit more out there, but I thought this was relevant. If you like the video, 2 big thumbs up, please. Share it far and wide, and do click that subscribe button. You'll really make my day. Have a great day. See you in the next one, which will be now.